Welcome to the Reese's Pieces and Snickers Bar Annual Appreciation Podcast. Got that right this time, didn't I, Dan? No?
Where do these ideas come from?
Well, it's a hint to our guest. Obviously, even though people would have clicked on and seen who our guest is. Are you getting it now?
Mate, the penny just dropped. Sorry,
just dropped,
it's 9:56 on a Friday morning and I'm about as awake as a
sleepy thing.
Yeah, sleepy thing. No, cool. So,
what is it? What's it called? You're missing the cues, Dan. Come on.
I'm missing the cues.
Yeah, what is it called? So I'll tell you, normally I do a comedy incorrect intro and then you do the correct one and I disagree with you and then we move on to the intro.
Yeah, gosh, sorry, I'm needing a bit of schooling this morning. So welcome to the Scratch Cafe Talking Turntablism. We've got
we've got, I've got a really good intro. I've got a really good intro. Now, if you've got anaphylaxis, you would not want to be on a plane with this motherfucker. He is the baddest man on an S11 according to the DMC Championships. And if you haven't guessed already, say the name, Dan.
So we have the 11 times IDA and DMC champion and the IDA 2022 world champion for the technical category, Mr. Tommy P. Nuts.
The current reigning
UK DMC champ as well. Yeah, my God. Welcome, buddy.
Hey,
how are you?
I am good. Yeah. Nice day. Looking forward to having a good chat.
Yeah,
wonderful. Now, before we kick off this episode, we do have a new section to the show.
We do,
and it is required refreshments by DJ Rasp. As a northerner, you'll be aware that northerners love hot drinks and biscuits. So Rasp will be advising the best refreshments and dunkable biscuits to accompany our podcast with Tommy Peanut.
Should we roll that now?
Before we do, this was meant for static.
Yeah.
But we got it around the wrong way due to time. So just pretend you're listening to Static's episode. And when you listen to Static's, pretend you're listening to Peanut's episode because this is not a peanut related refreshment video.
Right, okay. I'm ready.
So just pretend. Go on, Dan, roll it.
Here we go.
Rasp's refreshment requirements for this episode. You need to get yourself some chai tea, a fig roll, donkey, scranny. You know it's a winner.
I told that motherfucker he wasn't allowed to scratch in it, and he did it anyway.
He's had you.
He's had me.
Yeah, I mean, so the concept behind that comes from the fact that I guess turntablism meets a certain audience, and a lot of people are listening to these things while they're having a bit of a chill and trying to kind of catch up on stuff. So anyway, welcome, Tommy. There is a lot we could talk about, but I'd love to start with the battling.
Okay,
what happened? At the beginning of battling for you, what happened? Where did it come from?
What you mean, like what made me want to do it, or
what got you into battling?
Well, I think just when I started DJing and got into scratching, I guess that was when YouTube first kicked off, and after about 10 minutes of searching, you find the DMCs, and I'm like, that's cool. And at the time, I was breaking as well and battling, so I was into that kind of stuff as well. So I was like, I could do that, but DJing.
Nice. You were breaking, were you?
Yeah.
In the old B-boy world, I didn't know that. Cool.
Yeah. Well, at that time, just kind of to myself, really. And then when I went to university, I got more into it. Met other people that were doing it as well while I was still DJing too. I've done that alongside DJing. I mean, I don't practice as much anymore, but I try and keep it up.
Do you have any titles behind your belt on the old
No.
No,
not quite as talented.
The skills are all here.
Yeah. Maybe we like finger dancing or something.
We won't go any further with that one because that could deep dive into somewhere horrible. Right. So the one running theme, speaking to some of the old dogs, the consistent DMC entrance is they say you need to put in your routine a well-known tune and a really big tune that everybody knows that you can cut up and win the crowd over. Now, you've never done that, right? It just need for anybody that doesn't really watch the DMC and just listens to this podcast to just listen to us chat waffle for an hour and a half. Tommy Peanuts makes his own tunes and he makes routines out of his own tunes and he wins championships with it. When every other person before him is like, you need a well-known tune. People don't know what you're doing unless you've got a well-known tune. And you pulled it off and been extremely successful. So I just want to...
No, go on, man. Carry on.
So, I just want to get in your brain about that because it's an incredibly impressive thing for you to do. And I do get impressed by people that do their own thing and just don't care. So, yeah, I want to get in your brain on that.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like for like DMC and like the regular battles, I don't use my own tunes for that. I'm kind of using other people's and like, I add little bits of production to it and my own songs and kind of stuff. In the RDA show stuff, like that's always all my own stuff. Or if I do it with Static, we'll kind of split stuff. But the big tune thing. I mean, I guess probably when you're talking to me, a running theme will probably be like in my mind, I'm like, it doesn't really matter. It's like whatever you enjoy, whatever makes sense for you, do that. Like, I could put some big tunes in, but am I going to find it as fun? Am I going to find it as fulfilling? Probably not. Would I do a little bit better? Maybe. I mean, I had a few people at DMC last year say like, oh, just do what you're doing, but use some big tunes kind of thing. Yeah. But if I'm not enjoying it, I'm like, well, what's the point having, placing a few places higher, maybe winning? And it's like, well, wasn't really me. So I'm just always trying to like make the songs in my head, really. So, I'm using whatever fits that. If for some reason it's a big song, then cool. But most of the time it's kind of just something I hear and I'm like, oh, you know what? That's got this in it. I could flip it this way. So I'm kind of more looking for like elements in a song.
So what do you look for when you're building a routine or when you're looking at a juggle? What are the key elements you look for?
It depends, like routine to routine. Like sometimes I'll hear a song and I'll get the idea from the song and I'm like, oh, there's that in there. Maybe it's got this like little synth line in it or a vocal. I'm like, oh, I could cut that up. I could flip it in this way. Other times I might be specifically like looking for, I want a kind of drum and bassy kind of thing. I want something that I can split the drums from the rest of the song and flip it that way. So yeah, it's kind of, honestly, man, it's like every single routine is different. Yeah. I try and be like intentional with everything. So even if it's the tune that jumped out of me, I don't just stick it on the turntables to play around. I think I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with this? Yeah. What is going to be? Where's this going to go? How are the sections going to link? And then I make the sections. I don't kind of mess about first, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you know what? That's really interesting, right? Because some of the conversation that we've had along the way has been different to that. So we've had conversations that have been about like creativity and almost to some extent the importance of like limitation and boundary in pushing creativity. Because like I'll give you a tangible example where I'm kind of moving to. Like a lot of the guys that we've spoken to so far, they've kind of achieved what they've done by going, I'm just going to use these two records and I'm just going to try everything I can to squeeze every bit of kind of juggle patterns and stuff out of it that I could possibly come up with. And so a lot of people have been building these things by going, that's the tunes I'm going to use, and then I'm just going to play around until I find things that work and then put those into an order. But what you do is very different, and that's really fascinating to hear because like it's a whole different way of looking at it. And you've obviously achieved some amazing accolades as a result of that. So, but how did these ideas come to you?
I mean, to be honest, like a lot of the time, if I listen to a song and I hear it, I just write the idea down. So I've got a big list in my phone of like, some of it is just like the name of a song that I know, and I know if I just pull that song up, I'll know what the idea was when I hear it again anyway. Other times it's like, a whole routine broken down with like no song, and I need to kind of find that or make it fit. But yeah, just kind of like thinking, what can I do? Like, what can be done? How can I? Like for me, like the big thing really is I've got this kind of sound in my head. How can I achieve that? What's the best way for me to move closer to that? So I'm just kind of trying to think, and like emotions as well, man. Like that's like a big thing of it for me as well. It's like I want yeah, like if I want to start it off like there's a lot goes into it for me, man. So like I was thinking about this yesterday. Like I'll tend to like pick like a character or like might be from like a book or a film or just a person, and I kind of maybe almost try and like embody them in
what the fuck,
or like
really,
yeah, like it's cool. Kind of hard to explain. Like like I mean, like a bit of a mad example. Like last year, it was this skier, right? So it's a bit of a weird
whoa. Did you just say skier?
Yeah, so he's
a person that goes down mountains on snow.
Yeah, right? Man. Yeah,
right, come on, I got to see where this goes. Go on.
But it's this guy anyway. He's called. I'm not super into skiing or anything, but there's this Candide.
He's a closet ski enthusiast. Fuck, I just admitted it publicly.
There's a really sick, like, I think it's a Red Bull documentary about him, and I watched it. And I've been obsessed with it a few years ago. I've been obsessed with him ever since I've seen it. And he was basically like this guy, like, didn't speak. Started skiing, was doing all these crazy, like the biggest flips, the biggest stuff you can imagine, man, like huge stuff. And then eventually he broke his back. The jumps were so big.
What was it? Sorry, what was the documentary before you go on? So if people fancy pausing and getting some.
If you literally just type in Candide Dovex, let's see. Few Words, it's called.
Few Words, right? Okay, people. If you want to pause, go and watch Few Words to get some context on this. Then
it's super. I would recommend anyone watch it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But anyway, the thing that really inspired me was like after he broke his back, everyone said he'd never ski again. He came back, and then he just was like totally different. None of these like huge jumps. Everything was tiny. Like it was like the way he was like shifting the skis as he just went down the slope. Like he didn't need to do anything, and it looked really, really good. Like he was just doing nothing, but he was doing something all the time.
Right.
Okay. Like for me last year, that was the thing. It was like I'm not gonna like have these huge, big moments or like tricks or whatever it is. I'm just gonna like spend this 6 minutes moving, and I'm gonna be doing nothing but something the whole way through. Wow. And like you can see it whichever way you want to see it. You might see it as like it's just this one continual thing, or you might see it and be like, trick, but also small and like hopefully stylish, that it kind of melds together in that way.
That's crazy. I know for a fact you're thinking about. I know for a fact Dan's thinking about like doing research on Eddie the Eagle for this year's routine.
I mean that's fascinating. Like because that I'm telling you now, and I mean you may already know this, but it's very different to the way others are coming at this, and that difference comes out in your routine. I mean, I can totally see that in your in the routine you did last year, and in a lot of your work, because it's that sort of stylish, loads of cool stuff. I mean, I love the melodic like cut work that you do. It's just like it's just nice because it's musical, yeah. Well, because some of this stuff can be a bit sort of technique over. You can sacrifice a lot of the kind of the musicality of stuff in some of these kind of competition routines, like over the years. I think that's changing. It felt like last year's like world champions and stuff that they were, it was very musical, but. Yeah, I just that's really, really interesting. So take us from there. Then you were like, right, I've got this, I've got this idea from this skier. What happens next?
I mean, it's nothing like crazy or like super planned. It's just like I've kind of got that in my head as I'm going through everything, and it's like, okay, I've got this song. Like, how can I move through this? How can I move through this song in the way that he would move down a slope? So it's like, you know, and if you watch the routine, you probably see it. It's like there was no. I mean, there was some, but it was kind of the lines were kind of blurred between like the scratching and the juggling. You know, it's like it might be literally like 1 second scratching, 1 second drumming, 1 second juggling. And it was that same thing. We're trying to just be like, just keep moving, just keep flowing, do what you know, when you come to that bit of the track or that little bump in the slope, do what makes sense in that little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you know, I'm not kind of like being super in depth about that thing. It's just the kind of thing like I keep in mind, and I'm like, you know, I want what I do. For me, like a 6-minute routine, it's a whole 6-minute thing. It's not 3 2-minute routines. It's a whole 6 minutes. So I need something that like ties the whole thing together, even though it's maybe 3 different songs, whatever. Yeah, that just kind of is that consistency throughout the whole thing that makes it one piece of music.
You see it as a song, essentially. You're building one tapestry of work. What's very interesting about this podcast is we speak to people like yourself who put themselves in extremely stressful, extremely anxiety-ridden situations, and not only do that, but do that in front of a crowd and for very little gain monetarily or profile-wise. And a lot of people don't do that, and you're a very small percentage of the population that's not only capable, that actually has a desire to do so. So, you know, your insight into how you do things is actually very interesting, and probably half the reason why I wanted to do this podcast, to get to speak to people like yourself. So, you know, the fact that you started with a skier, and then when you were talking, I was starting to think, you know, as you come down the slope, you're getting ready for the big trick, coming up to the apex, performing the apex, and then landing it, and then you're done, which is absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So yeah, so please don't take it away from yourself that you're capable of that sort of thought, courage, and skill to do it, and dedication. I'm going to move it on a little bit because I've spoken about S11isms, or the S11ists. And you probably understand the concept maybe, but if not, I'll explain it. So obviously now the routines are built solely around the S11, and the turntables seem to be becoming less and less important. When I've been watching your stuff, I've kind of seen like it kind of feels a little bit like you're touching the turntables because you have to. And if you were just left with an S11, you'd probably be a lot better. Am I right in that thinking, or is my bold?
No, I don't think so, man.
No, okay.
No, I think the turntables are still like the center of it for me.
Yeah,
because it's like if I was that way inclined, I'd just get like an MPC or a launch pad or something. And
okay,
I'm not like anything of a finger drummer. I would say I'm like less than average. Like I can integrate, like I'm good at the pads with the turntables, but for me it's all one thing together. It's like there's like something about specifically having 2 tracks of audio. Yeah, and you're mixing those 2 things together. But yeah, no, I think, I wouldn't want to. If I lost the turntables, it wouldn't interest me.
Okay. Yeah. See, now I can get on board with that. I mean, I'd want to be touching turntables nearly every time of my day, and I've literally
you've engineered a life where you touch turntables every day.
I get paid to touch turntables and watch people using them. So I'm gonna ask you a question now, Tommy. If you had to choose out of walnuts and pistachios, which one would you choose?
Man, I hate to like hop on the trend, but it's got to be pistachio, man.
Okay, it seems like we're gonna see what random's got to say. I'm gonna call him.
God.
Okay, all right, okay.
Here we go.
What do you fucking idiots want?
Hey, mate.
Tommy Peanuts has said that he prefers pistachio nuts over walnuts. Dom, random. What do you think about that?
Who the fuck wastes their time trying to eat food that is covered in fucking wood? Right? At the end of the day, the only peanuts worth talking about are dry roasted and Tommy. The rest of them are just a fucking hot mess. And to be honest, I'd rather fucking eat a handful of hot dog shit.
Okay, he's hung up. There we go.
I'll take that. I think that went pretty well.
Yeah, I think that went pretty well, mate.
We're agreeing with Random there. Yeah, I normally like to stitch people up, but obviously, as you're the current reigning champion, I thought I'd give you a pass on that one and give you an easy Random's
got off easy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That I wasn't expecting that.
No,
I don't know where to go from there. Do you know? So Tommy, I know you teach a chunk of stuff, and you know, I over the last year, coming up to the end of the first year of running online tutorials and stuff, I'm really interested, and I know lots of people that listen to this will be really interested in like how you over time have gone from, you know, like everybody starts with no skill to, you know, world champion level skills. Like how have you got there? How do you approach all of that?
I mean, I guess when I first started, probably like a lot of people in my position or just any DJ, I practiced a lot. Like the first maybe 2 years. I mean, you'd probably be shocked if I explain. The first 2 years, I practiced a lot, like every day. It was like a obsessive kind of thing. It was like I had to practice every day. So if I got home late, I would still go and like do an hour or whatever in the headphones.
And it's passion driving that, right? It's like I'm fascinated by this. And I just cool.
And then started doing DMCs at that point, and then I kept the practicing up with the scratching, was like working on the like 3 clicks and stuff a lot. And then I kind of stopped. I probably worked on DJing for like solidly like 4 or 5 years. A few years after that, just doing battles. Like I wasn't practicing at all. I would just make battle routines. That was it. And then a few years of like I was playing gigs, but I did not practice, didn't do any battles. You know, that maybe went 4 or 5 years, just really focused on like producing and like writing music.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of came back to it in 2018. I think that was the first UK when I won RDA UK Scratch. It was 2018 or 2019. I think it was 2018. Came back to it then, but again, it was just doing routines, man. Like no practicing at all, and I've only just really started practicing again, like actually working on stuff the last 18 months. So,
yeah,
like,
I remember you posting, say, like when we were going into the DMC last year, I remember you posting and saying like you focused quite heavily on leveling up because you were going for the world title.
I think my head was always so into like the routines and the composition.
Yeah.
And like the product, but I think that's kind of where a lot of my skills lie. And it's like you can always, you know, if you get better at writing a song with recording instruments, whether it's sampling, whatever it is, you can always take that and apply that, even though that's maybe like a 3 minute. I mean, there was one point where I was writing these like 10-12 minute long things.
Yeah.
You know, you can apply that to like a 2-second scratch if you really break it down, and like the contrast throughout the song you can apply to a 2-second section or whatever. So I just wasn't like, although I wasn't spending any time on the turntables, my head was always turning and reinventing what I was doing without ever having to actually put any time in, really.
Yeah.
But that's something I've kind of come back to now, where it's like, I think leading up to maybe like 2022 when I won IDA, I was really, really pushing like, how far can I push the skills that I have? Like, how far can I take them within a routine, within a composition? And then after that, I've been a little bit more, how can I use the competitions to push my actual skills? And it's kind of like, instead of spending all my time trying to come up with a perfect routine, I'm spending more of my time just working on my skills and putting a lot less into the routine. And my kind of thinking behind that is, well, let's say year one, the routine's not as good as it would have been if I would have put all my effort into the routine, but my skills have gone up, right? And I've put 80% into the routine instead of 100, but 80% probably takes 10% of the time 100 takes.
Yeah, 100%.
Year two, right? I do the same. Maybe now, like, the routine is as good as it would have been, because my skills have got better. Year 3, I'm still putting like 10% of the time into the routines, but because I am so much better, that routine is way better than 3 perfect routines would have been down the line, because my skills have actually gotten better. I'm doing it more. And it's the same with writing songs. It's like, if you're one of these people who gets like trapped in making a perfect song, you spend 6 months on a song, 6 months on one routine, whatever it is, like, you have so little experience of going through that entire process. Whereas if you just compromise a little bit with your standards, and instead of going through that process once in a year, do it 10, 20, 30, 50 times, now your worst casual throwaway idea is so much better than that original perfect one would have been.
Yeah, totally, because you're practicing the right thing.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, it's just enjoying it. And like, if you really want to break the practice down, I guess it's about like intention and what am I trying to achieve, and kind of balancing the fun with improving. And for me, it's like, making a routine is stressful, because if I decide I'm going to make a routine with a song, right, I might spend 1 week to a month on that 2-minute kind of thing. It might not work at the end of it. I could potentially be disappointed. I can potentially have days where I'm spending like 1, 2, 5, 6 hours and I get nothing out of it, and I'm just running through things. You know, I've got an idea, I try it, it doesn't work. Got another idea, try it, doesn't work. Got another idea, try it, doesn't work. It's fatiguing. It's not fun. Whereas if I literally just say, all right, well, you know what, I've got this little riff, I'm going to sit at the piano, I'm going to play this thing over a drum loop, and then I'm going to get up and I'm going to practice these scratches I'm working on. There's no way to be disappointed, because there's no way that if you don't spend time doing that, you're not getting anything out of it.
Yeah. So basically, just to get this clear, so it sounds to me like when you get a feeling that you want to use something, you're literally going to do that until it works, opposed from somebody going, that beat's really nice, it's going to work on a juggle, I'm going to make something good out of it.
No, some things get thrown away, some things don't work. But I try everything, and the thing is, when I'm making a routine, I tend to come up with like most of the time the biggest flip part of it first. So like the crux of it, like what the kind of main idea or thing I heard, what that kind of song is saying to me. And then once I've got that, I can kind of stretch that out. Or if that's not really working, I've got so many things I can fall back on that work with like 90% of songs. Not necessarily like doing the same routine with a different song, but I know like I've got this like pad drumming, scratching kind of thing. I've got like all these different styles of pad juggling in different timings, and like I'll do different patterns every routine, but I know that like if I've got a 20-minute thing that's unique to that song that requires that song to work, and that can't be stretched out any further, I can apply all these different bits to it. So that there is like an element of, when I have something I'm in love with, like a tiny 20 seconds, I will force that song to work over a longer period of time. Because for me, like, I want to lead into that as well. I want the rest of the thing, I want it all to make sense as one thing. I don't want it to be like, here's 20 seconds of this, here's 20 seconds of this, here's 20 seconds of this. They're all sick and cool, but they don't make sense together. For me, there needs to be like the contrast, and it's like, okay, I'm starting off with scratching with the song as it is so you can hear it. Then I'm gonna do like a kind of juggle that's maintaining the sound of that song, but it's flipped a little bit. Then I'm gonna like half time the thing, flip the melody and the rhythm on its head, so it's like, now you're getting this, oh, okay, what's going on here? And then I'm going to come to the end of that and do some like build to some kind of crescendo, maybe doing some like one-hand drumming kind of stuff. Like this is just like what might go on in my head when I'm thinking about it. But, you know, as a contrast, so I've just done this funky, like slow kind of thing. Now I'm going to do something really intense and like building up, and I'll try and take the melody or the harmony like with it to keep building that kind of,
and keep the consistency,
energy. And then it's like, and then like, and it, it can dissolve into nothing at the end or whatever it is.
That's a very production focused kind of approach, right?
It's got a song, man. Like,
it's a songwriting thing, isn't it? You know,
what's the difference? You know,
there isn't. You know, I'm with you. I agree with you. It's funny. So I did. I spent quite a lot of time. He was a bloke I used to work with in my like corporate life. But he's really good. This guy, Steve Bent, he's absolutely amazing at like writing songs. And he talks me through like all his kind of like theory behind it, and how you have like, you keep like rhythmical ideas, or you swapping sounds in and out, but keeping rhythms the same. And that's how you can like build from like what your crescendo ultimately is. And then you can just sort of strip that down and swap things in and out to basically make the build-ups and the thing. And that's what makes a song that can sound really different feel really like brought together. And it's really interesting because it sounds like the process you go through when you're designing that is like aligned to that, which is a very songwriting thing, you know?
I mean, if you listen to like my routines from probably 2022 onwards, that is like 100% the approach, but it's like, it goes beyond like production in like what I would do for like making a track for a vocalist, or even for myself. Like if you listen to like my routines, I don't repeat any patterns the whole routine. There's not one 5 second, 2 second, 1 bar loop that I repeat, unless I'm intentionally doing it to have repetition to build tension. Like it's more like a classical piece of music where it's like there's a consistent melody, like theme, texture, whatever it is, but every bar is different, whether it's the technique, the rhythm, the melody. Like it's one evolving thing for those 2 minutes, 6 minutes, whatever the kind of format is. And that's
in sections like that, or do you write like here's the overall thing and then I'll lay a variation on top of it? Does that make sense?
Or as I'm doing like so on like a kind of micro level, like per routine, I come up with probably like, I don't know, like a 1 bar, 2 bar, 4 bar thing.
Yeah.
Probably 1 bar, to be honest, and that might take me a day to come up with like a 1 bar idea for a track that's over 2 decks, say. And then the next day I'll write another bar. The next day I'll write another bar, and then until I've got like a kind of, probably, I normally tend to split like do my routines in like 8 bar sections, really. So, and then when I've got 8 bars, I'll leave it and I'll move on to the next, come up with another idea that's 2 bars, 1 bar, and then I'll next 2 bars, same vibe, totally different techniques, different rhythms. Like I don't want it to be like, like dum cat, dum cat, dum cat, dum cat, the same thing. I want it to be like dum cat, cat, dum cat, the dum cat. Cat. You know what I mean? I like, I'm thinking that in my head. Like I'm listening to what I've got, and it's a lot of work, man. So I don't always like, I don't always fully fulfill my idea, and sometimes I'm a bit lazy. Like the routine might not. I don't think my routines are lazy. I think I put a lot of effort in, but I know I could still do a lot more. But I'm listening to the bar that's come before, and like I say, if it was something like cat, I might leave a little. I'm thinking, well, what would be good after that? Okay, I've had this little snare thing. Cat. Well, maybe I'll leave the first beat out, have a pause, so it's silence. So it'd be like cat. Do, and then I'll come in with something more do.
Because you've almost raised the tension with the snare section, and then you're coming into something that relaxes the listener a little bit more because it's a little more sort of standard and predictable, and then back out to always switching that kind of contrast up.
Yeah, but I think like maybe like you're saying about the composition, I think maybe something I've noticed between me and other people is like that, like arrangement especially comes really easy to me. Like the first time I ever made a beat, it was like intro, verse, chorus, bridge, outro, like breakdown, like whereas other people like that have been making music for years that I knew, they were just making loops, and it was just a loop. And like I don't know if it was just listening to music and like the way that I listen to it and kind of what I enjoy in music is the changing of those things. That's just something that always came like really naturally and easy to me.
That is really fascinating. It's a gift, man.
I mean,
Because you are right.
And also,
Most people, it's loop based.
Yeah, I think it's worth saying. Like, I don't think my way is like the best way. I love plenty of routines that are like mixtape style and like cut and paste and something totally different. I think everyone's just all you can do is do what's true to yourself. And like, if you're one of those guys that likes that cut and paste like 90s kind of style, and you're trying to do something like me because you think that's going to be like popular or successful, it's going to be see-through. Like, it's not going to work. In the same way that if I come in with like, I don't know, a bag of vinyl records and like try and do this like 90s, like all these breakdowns and whatever, like it's not gonna sound right. Like I could use those records and do something, but it would still sound different to what those people were doing then. It would still sound in some way like what I'm doing now.
Yeah, and I hear you, and yeah, one of the reasons I was so excited to have this conversation with you is because you are, you know, I think we said this on the Reaver thing, you know, you are really original.
Oh yeah, you don't even need to look at the video, do you, to know it's him?
It's such. Oh yeah. I mean, I could hear your routines and I'd know it's you. You know.
Well, I mean, that's like, for me, that's like the biggest compliment anyone can. I mean, I'll let you finish because I know I'm waffling on there. But I can remember like once when we started going to scratch jams, and a guy said to me, he was like, this was just freestyle, and he was like, oh man, like everyone else, like they just sound the same, but if you were behind a curtain, I would instantly know it was you. And I was, and when he said it, I knew that was like a really big compliment. But that's always been something that, like, when people have said to me, I really appreciate, because I don't know. It's just, if you can hear me or see me and what I'm doing, then I'm doing it right. It doesn't matter if I win. It doesn't matter if it's the best. I mean, you know, if you want to talk about winning and how ridiculous that is, we can talk about that.
We will talk about that.
All right, well, let's frame winning, and so obviously what we've got from this conversation so far is that you are ridiculously performance related, and you're ridiculously melody related, and movement, and how your whole set grooves. So what I'd be interested to find out is, to what degree do you give importance to a technique you think the judges would appreciate and allow you to win over? Let's say if we're going on two sides of the scale, the baby scratching in something sounds better than doing some mental free click thing. At what point does your brain go, right, I prefer it sounds with a baby scratch, but the judges aren't going to be impressed with that, so I'm going to do something mental with an open fader free click flare thing that they're going to enjoy.
Okay. I'll have to give you two different answers here.
Yes, correct. Bring them.
All right. So first off, I literally don't think at all about what techniques I'm putting into what I'm doing.
Okay.
I'm exclusively thinking about the sound, right? So if a baby sounds better, I'm doing a baby. If a 3-click sounds better, I'm doing a 3-click. And if you actually notice in my DMC routine last year, I did basically no 3-clicks the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'd like change the whole, and like, so it's, I don't give any kind of stock to pleasing the judges. I could not care less. Like, love all the judges, love winning, but winning is like not a concept when I'm coming up with routines. I'm only thinking about, do I like this routine? Is this routine me? Is it honest? Am I proud of it? Do I want to share it? So yeah, I literally don't think about that at all. But with a caveat.
Is this the second part now?
This is the second part, right?
Okay, bring it.
I do think, and it took me a long time to accept this, right? But if you're entering a DJ battle, there's an element of theatre to it, right?
Yeah.
I used to always be like, this is just about the sound, man. Like, this is why you don't really see me doing body tricks or anything like that, because I was always like, it's just about how it sounds. That's the only thing that matters. Doesn't matter like what I'm doing, how I look. It's just about how it sounds. And I kind of came to started realizing that, you know what, I do kind of enjoy battling, the kind of competitiveness of it, and the theatre of it. And I realize I'm not, when I'm doing this here, I'm not just creating a routine. It's almost a theatre piece.
Yeah,
I'm in it.
You're on stage.
And, a lot of the energies that, like, I don't think I'm better than anyone, right? I don't want to beat anyone. I don't want anyone to lose. But when I'm on that stage, LARPing as Tommy Peanuts, I enjoy the feeling of being like, fuck all of y'all. I'm the best. You all suck. You ain't got shit on me. Like, I could fucking fart better than the shit you were doing. I enjoy that feeling, and I want that to come across in the performance, in almost like the blaseness of it, of like, this is whatever, I'm doing this thing. And the caveat related to that is, well, if I'm thinking this technique done in this way is going to elicit some kind of emotion in myself, the crowd, in that theatre piece, that's going to be like, fuck, look at that shit, look at that, fuck, and like add to that the drama of y'all ain't got shit on me, then I kind of get it. But if I only had to give one, I don't care.
Okay, so right. So we've talked about being in the trenches in previous podcasts, and what I'm getting from that conversation is like, you're in the room waiting to go on. Everybody else is sweating, and everybody else is like worried about their set, and you're just sat there cool as a cucumber, going, "Yeah." Is that a mentality you use to get yourself into that fate, or are you literally sat there just being cool as a cucumber? I can do this in my sleep, sweat, and watch me not sweat and get more sweaty, boys. Have you got that sort of that mental mindset when you're in the room at the back?
It's a really complicated question, man, because I myself really suffer with anxiety. Like, it's a big thing for me, and my experience of battling has really changed over the years. The first time I ever battled, my hands were like, I couldn't get the needle on the in the sticker, and the last few years I've become a lot more calm. I think just because, like, at the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's a DJ, and like, no offense to anyone, DJ battles are stupid. Like,
those are the wrong words to be used on a podcast like this, Tommy.
No, but like, come on, man. Like, it's like we're all bringing our little routine and being like, my routine's better than yours. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's like, who can do music the best? Like, honestly, it's really silly, man. And it's like, I love it and I enjoy it, but like, I can like, I'm self-aware
in the reality of the world. Like, I can even do this competition or get run over by a bus. It actually means nothing.
Have a look at what you're doing. Like, it's really stupid, man. Like, it's like, it's just, we've invented this thing. Like, oh, you know what? Let's invent this thing where we can go against each other, and someone will win and feel really good. And like, it's just a stupid little human game that we've invented. It's like,
I fucking love that. I love that.
But, and, you're right, mate. There's art and love within it, but like, at the end of the day, like, the thing itself is dumb. But and I think if you truly understand and accept that, it just doesn't. I mean, I get nervous because I'm like, I've put so much fucking time into this. The only thing I'm nervous about is like, I want to perform it well, but then I also know I'm like, I've done this routine 500 fucking times. Like, the last 100 times I've nailed it. If this routine goes terrible, it's still not going to be that bad because I'm so good at doing it.
Yeah. Do you get worried that you're over practicing, and when you come out, you've done it way too many times, the dopamine's run out from this thing that you've made, and you just go and you're worried about going out there and performing it like a kipper on a fucking a newspaper, just
no,
whatever.
But like, I would briefly like to touch on just on the previous thing.
Oh god,
like
sorry.
At DMC UK last year, like that was the calmest I've ever felt, and I could see everyone sweating and like whatever. And
there it is.
And and it wasn't even like confidence. It was just like, I've been in that position, and I was just like, I'm so happy that I don't feel like that anymore, because that sucks. It's not nice. And then when I went to the World Finals, that was even, honestly, I had almost like a euphoric experience. Like the results didn't go the way I wanted it to go, but
where did you place?
I was
sixth,
seventh.
Seventh.
I think it was seventh. But you know, when I was doing it, I was looking around me and like people were having like panic attacks left, right, and center, like crying, like people collapsing after the performance on the stage.
You're kidding me, really?
No, for real, man. Like people like losing the shit. And I was just like, you know, I
hope you didn't go over and tell them that battles are silly.
Yeah. Well, no, I was like, yo, you guys need to chill. Like, shit does not matter.
Don't pass out over something stupid.
But like, yeah, but like I was I did the elim, and like in my head, like I wasn't thinking I was gonna win. I was like, I really wanted to come in the top 3. But obviously, like the lineup was stacked. You had like K-Swizz, Fly, Fumi, and like even outside of those guys, like the standard was really high. And I did the prelim, and I think I got seeded like 6th or like 7th, and I was like, oh, that's like lower than I thought I was gonna get placed. I thought I did well. Like I really like my routine. Like I kind of understand why, and like I mean, if we can talk about judging at some point.
Why do you think it was? Why do you think?
Because I just think my style, and especially what I did that year, was very like intricate, smooth. Like it didn't have these huge like jumps and like moments that you were like, oh, do you remember that bit of Tommy's routine? For me, like I was building the whole thing as a whole 6 minutes. So I think it kind of just it lacked the punch of those moments. But yeah, I mean, it's but like I say, I placed there, and I was like immediately, I was like over it. I was like, oh, whatever, doesn't matter. Whereas I saw everyone else like, you know, going ape shit. So when I went into doing the actual thing, and it went kind of, so I had like all these circumstances that went really bad. So it was like my turn. I went up, and then I was about to go, and they were like, oh no, hold up, stop. C2C are going to play. So I had to like stop my routine after like 10 seconds or something.
What?
Yeah. C2C came on, played like a half an hour set. So I was then like stood there like
adrenaline
C2C to finish. So then like anyway, I come C2C finish, and it's like I've got so now I've got to play after C2C. I was like, what the fuck? They just did the finish with the like, you know, the blues samba one, the mega classic one.
Yeah, from 2004.
But anyway, I was like, it doesn't matter. Like, it is what it is. And I was just like having this moment of like, and then Craze introduces me, forgets my name, and he's like, oh, yo, so sorry. And I'm like, oh, it's cool, man. I don't care. And in my head, I'm just like, oh, how nice is this? That I like really do not give a fuck what is about to happen.
That is nice.
Of all these people, there's like 1,000 people here or whatever it was. All these people are like pulling the hair out, and I'm just like, I don't even care. Like I'm the chillest, happiest person here, and that is a win for me. So yeah, did the thing, and like was just like proud of that. And but yeah, now I've totally forgot what the actual question I'd have diverted.
Yeah, same here. No, that was nail biting.
That was fascinating, mate, because you know it is interesting. Like, because you know. And you get this with like performers of all kinds. You know, they come on, and part of the performance is, like you were saying, you know, the kind of this is effortless to me. You know, I'm awesome, and actually for listeners to hear that behind the scenes there's kind of carnage, right? Like, and that some of your enjoyment came from the fact that you didn't feel like you were a part of that carnage. Like that's really insightful to people, right? Because a lot of the time, like especially nowadays, right? If we've got any young listeners today, their consumption of DJs a lot is going to be social media, super carefully curated. I look really good in that video. I look really on the fucking ball, and I nailed it, right? To like the actual harsh reality of I'm about to step in front of 1,000 people. Like the host doesn't know my name. Right, like, and they've fucked that up. They've moved me on, and then they pulled me off, and I've got to deal with the emotional sort of distress of that. none of that gets necessarily seen by people generally. And so I think it's really, really interesting to hear that that's what's going on. And also, well done to you, mate, because anxiety kills a lot of people. So to have moved past all that and to have kind of gone, you know what, actually, that didn't phase me anymore. Like, I've done enough of this, you know. It should be nice for people to hear, because it's like, you know, you just keep doing it, right? Because you will get past it eventually.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what Fly was like. I imagine he's cool as a bloody cucumber.
Do you know what? I spoke a lot to Fly. That was the first time I spoke to him properly. Super, super nice guy. But yeah, I got the impression that he was really feeling the pressure of having won before, coming back in Paris. Yeah, it was going to be his last battle.
Home turf. Oh.
So yeah, you know, I think, yeah, all those big guys like Fumi, like, obviously these guys are amazing and they all nail it, but you can see you know, how serious it is to them, like K-Swiss, how focused and like ready, you know, and it's I don't know, but I think to me, like the kind of the mental health anxiety like aspect of it is, you know, I think if you want to do well at battling, you need to have a strategy and approach to that. But also, man, like I said, battling stupid is better. Like,
yeah, you got.
I also want to deal with my anxiety like in real life, because like it's not pleasant. It's not pleasant then as well. So I treat it the same way I treat like scratching. Like, I'm always like reflecting on like, okay, well, this period of time was really difficult. What did I do that didn't work so well? Like, this period was better. Like, what have I changed? Like, what can I do moving forward? And like, always, I think that's probably like a theme with all my like practices and interests and creations. I'm always like iterating on what I'm doing. I'm always reflecting. And like, I've always had this thing where like, if I do a routine and I'm like, you know what, that sucks. That's the best feeling for me, because then I know I'm like, okay, my creativity, my brain, my skills are ready to do something better than that. I can see the holes in this thing that I thought was the best thing I'd ever made. So that means the next thing I make is going to be better than that.
Yeah, like, it's really a really simple example. We talked about this a few times, but like, I always say to students, like, record everything, like, record your practices, watch them back, right? Because like, people don't realize necessarily, but when you do that and you force reflection and you force yourself to ask yourself questions, you get more conscious of it all, just generally. And then it's often when you're like, oh, I've just done some scratching, and you're looking back at like old videos, like through whatever, and you think, fucking hell, like, there's day and night between where I am today and where I was, you know, even a year ago. It doesn't feel like that, like, because you see every movement, right? But like, it does make that difference. And yeah, I mean, you can totally apply that thinking to basically anything in life. You know, it's a very, we talk about this thing called deliberate practice. I don't know whether you've come across those terms before, but you know, and you started talking in those terms actually kind of earlier on in this conversation, where you've got like, you know, there's an intention, right? There's like what am I trying to achieve here? And there's almost like, there's a gap analysis that you do, like, where am I today versus what I need, and what are the things that are getting in the way? Then it's like drilling the shit out of it, and then it's putting it all back together again, you know, better than you did before. But you can apply that to anything, right? It's scratching, you can apply it to juggling, DJing, you can apply it to managing anxiety, you can apply it to winning in competitions, you can apply it to everything. So yeah, it's really interesting to hear about taking some of that reflective nature and how it has an impact, mate. Really cool.
I mean, you've got to, and I think like the thing, I like, for me, this would probably be another thing that you'll think is weird to say. I would love to be less interested in DJ battling. Honestly, it's a nightmare. It's like
the compulsion now.
Yeah, like I hate how obsessed I can be with it, and
yeah,
you know, and that's the thing of like, well, if I can iterate on my approaches to this, to my own mental health. I would love to be one of those people, honestly, that could just wake up in the morning, chill, like read a book, hang out with my friends. But I almost get like nervous tics if I've not practiced or like bettered myself in some way.
Oh, mate, I know that one.
Yeah, this is a group of people who fully understand.
Yeah,
I can't stand staying still. Can't deal with it.
It's DJ. Like all battle DJs are the same. Like you break them down, they're all the same person, really. And you can act like as cool or whatever as you want, but they're all just big nerds who like really interested in this thing. I mean, I think probably every serious battle DJ is, whether they know it or not, neurodivergent in some way.
Oh no, the scratch cafe is like literally, it's like a neurodivergent playground full of absolute lunatics.
It's great.
You couldn't be like a normie and like be good at DJ. It wouldn't work. You can't put the time, the effort in, like the approach. You just wouldn't. You couldn't manifest that. I
think that's why, like, a bit of a sideswipe here, but like, I think that's why most like big organizations of all types are spending so much time and energy in trying to ensure neurodiverse people can come into their organizations and can succeed in them, right? Because I think there's a really strong link between neurodivergence and elite performance in pretty much every category that you can possibly find. And the reason is, I think, is as simple as passion and perseverance tend to be the two things that predict whether people can enter into any kind of elite sphere at all. So, and I just don't, I think those of us with ADHD, those of us with autism, those of us with, I think that enables you to have a level of passion and a level of perseverance that a neurotypical mind really can't compete with to some extent. So I do, I really think, like if you scratch beneath the surface of basically anyone in that top echelon of any kind of performance will find that,
Yeah, but I think I agree with that. Like, I've got mega ADHD, and like I don't think I would be anywhere near as good at DJing if I didn't. No. But I think there's also like an interesting thing with I was talking about emotion before. I think with people with ADHD and autism, that kind of thing, I think you maybe often you struggle to communicate how you feel vocally. Yeah. I think that's often why people, I know for me, like lean into like art and music so heavily because like, for me, like music is 100% emotion. Like if it's a scratch freestyle, if I'm playing the piano, I'm always trying to conjure or express something. Like there's always something linked to it, no matter what it is, like joy, sadness, things that you can't describe with, words. But yeah, it's, everyone that DJs is a little bit spicy.
It's interesting because when you saying that, obviously I struggled with quite severe drug addiction when I was younger, and I'm on the other side of that now, and I'm doing work on myself to sort of understand what part my ADHD played in my addictions with drugs and other things. And we're absolute dopamine fiends, and we're dopamine fiends that cannot express themselves in a care. Like if you ask me to explain something that I don't care about, I'll break it down to the nth degree. But if you ask me to explain how I'm feeling or why I love something so much, I just get stuck and frustrated to the point where I'll send loved ones songs that have a message that I'm feeling that I just can't express to them. And it's so interesting when you say things like that. And obviously you get caught on a hook. You hear a chord progression or some melody, and then suddenly it's like, oh, that made me feel good. Right, I'm gonna fucking slam that for 3 days until it runs out. Yeah. And it's kind of with scratching and turntablism. Not only does it slow my mind down, and not only does it calm the intrusive mental thoughts that are going through my head, but I also get a dopamine fix from it, and that keeps me stuck to my decks. And the interesting thing I found about you guys is I've never being a competitive person. It doesn't sound like you're a competitive person either. So I'm very interested to because you're not competitive, but you are competitive.
Yeah.
You're ADHD, so you're getting your dopamine. And I don't think about competing. So what happened there when you were like, right, I just love doing this, I'm caught here, and then suddenly it's just like, yeah, I need to go in a competition. I never made that leap. So come on, help me out with it.
I think I just, man, I honestly, I could go so deep on this.
Do it. Go as deep as you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
I think you've got to take it like layer by layer, right? So I think I enjoy putting it on the line, right?
Okay.
I enjoy risking it all. Like I enjoy the rush of it. It's fun.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy winning. It's a nice feeling. I don't. When I do win, I don't let myself get wrapped up in it because, different judges, different results, whatever. But I do enjoy it, right? And if I take my mind back to even when I was at school, right, I was like, you can probably tell from my DJ, and I was like super nerdy, like really good at maths, like really good at like art and drawing and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, like other kids used to like take the mick and bully me and stuff for like being clever. But even so, I loved like. I didn't enjoy doing maths. I fucking hated it, but I loved getting the best mark. I love being top of the class, getting the best results. Like there was something about it. I was just in me. So then come to get a bit older, still enjoy it. There's just something about, I don't know. It's like the rush of it. I just love it. But you kind of mature a little bit, and now I'm like, I still enjoy it as something that's like a natural thing to me, but I'm not consciously interested in winning. To me, like doing DMC is just a way for me to get better at DJing, get better at music, make something I'm proud of. I just know that if I wasn't doing it, I would. If I wasn't doing DMC, I wouldn't scratch probably, because I would just get sucked into Ableton and writing songs. But I enjoy doing that, and I'm good at it. So I'm kind of glad that I do. But yeah, but then I think if you strip that back, you suffer with like anxiety, depression, those kind of things. Is there some kind of I want to win because I want people to think I'm good? Is that because you want people to like you? You want people to accept you? If I go into this competition and I win this thing, that's like, no one can take that away from me. I am the champion of this. You have to accept me. You have to like me. You have to give me a level of respect. Is it that neurodivergent search for approval? I think there's, not wanting to disappoint people, disappoint yourself. I think there's so many layers, and you can strip it so far back. I think I'd be surprised if anyone doing DJ battling didn't really deep down, whether they know it or not, the reason they did it wasn't something that wasn't related to DJing. Wasn't a desire to be involved in something, a desire to be approved of. I think like just liked is like a big thing of it. As much as you maybe say, oh no, I'm doing it for my career, and like, well, what your career is like, what, like standing in front of people, having them like screaming and shouting at you, like what your career is like being liked by people. Don't tell me like you're all about the music if you're posting it on social media and like doing all these photo shoots or whatever. Like, I'm sure you do love the music, but you also probably deep down there's something else going on, whether you know it or not.
I think egos are, and just also to be clear, I don't think it's a bad reason either. I think, but I think it does play a part in the cocktail of why anyone would do any of this stuff, is because they feel like it'll help them prove something to themselves. I mean, you got to think like it's high stress. It doesn't pay off to your career in the way that other things will generally. I mean, if you're very specifically a turntablist DJ, it can. But I feel like most of the DJs in there, they'd probably be just as successful if they didn't have titles, because it's not necessarily the thing that gets you booked. You know, the thing that gets you booked is your relationship with agents. And so, I mean, you can totally correct me. I'm not, but that's been my experience, is that it doesn't really do that. So there's got to be a more of a deep personal reason why people take part.
Oh yeah. if you're doing it for like career, fame, money, you're doing it for you're wasting your time. There's totally reasons, like, and it's you know, on top of that, like if you're going into a battle to win, and like you are trying to win, winning is your desire in a kind of really focused way, you're just setting yourself up to be disappointed, because like you can't control that. Like, you know, focus on something you can control, focus on making the best routine you can, pushing yourself, and then if you win, it's going to feel really nice and it's a bonus, but you're not going to be disappointed if you lose.
100%, man. We talked about on a lot of these podcasts, we talked about the how actually winning sometimes, and I don't know whether you experience this, and I would like your perspective on it. But my experience in smaller battles, you know, the DMC last year was my first kind of big battle. But my experience was in smaller things, I gained a lot more when I came second than when I came first, because I had stuff to look up to and learn from. I gained a lot from just the experience of going through it, like you were talking about earlier, you know, just the actual, like, seeing a process through multiple ways and learning about that and reflecting on that. When I won the thing that I was in, I kind of didn't really have anywhere to go. and so there's like, I do think there's a thing about, like, you do win just by taking part. Like, you just have to see it, because you know, the title is great, but it's all the other stuff that's actually really, really useful. Like you say, pushing your DJing forward. It's a tool to push your DJing forward, not necessarily to put another. But by the way, you must have a very big wall with all those plaques on it.
Oh yeah, there's a few too many now, man. Like, it's like,
it's fall down.
Well, I mean, maybe for better or worse. I'm still missing two from DMC, but
are you?
So let's talk about losing them, because I don't think we've had a guest that has sort of been able to be as introspective on their failings and their shortcomings as you. So I think it'd be very interesting to understand what happens to you when you lose. What happens to you when you build the routine that this is going to win it, this is going to get it, and then you go and do it and it fails, and then you're left just without any of the things that you were chasing going into that competition.
Well, I think I feel like the only time I've ever really stumbled with that was in the IDA World Final in 2023. So it was like the year after I won the technical World Final, and I spent 2 months in Japan. So I couldn't do DMC because I was in Japan when the World Final was on. I only had 3 weeks when I got back before IDA, so I didn't have enough time to prepare for the technical, basically. So I was like, I'll do the show. And I spent the time when I was in Japan, obviously being a tourist and having fun. But in the mornings when my girlfriend was, because she would sleep in later than me normally, I'd just, for an hour probably, I'd go to a coffee shop, go to a park, I'd take my laptop, and I wrote this song. And it was one song, it was 6 minutes long, and I spent the entire 2 months writing it, basically. And then I got back and I made it into a routine. I only had 3 weeks to do it, and it was there was some really difficult technical things of it that took me a long time to work out. So I think I finished it like 5 days before the battle. But because I'd won the year before, and the way this routine was going, and I mean, I'm not sure if you've seen it, if you watch it, there's a lot of stuff in there that I felt people hadn't done before, was really new. It was like perfect for that battle. And yeah, I went into it. The lineup was, I was like, you know what, I think I'm the favorite here with what I've got. There was DJ Delightful was there as well. And he was like, oh, you know, I'm doing this show, but I'm just putting something in that like I've been playing around, and I'm just gonna. But what am I trying to say? He just wanted to do it to show the routine to people, basically.
Yeah.
So I kind of got it in my head that I was going to win. I'd shown a few people this routine, and they were like, "Fuck! Like this shit is crazy, man. It's like unreal. Like you're going to walk it. Like there's no way you're not winning this." Went to the thing, did the sound check, like felt great. Did the battle, and when I did the battle, it didn't go great. There was no huge mistakes, but I really struggled kind of mentally. Like there was a lot of anxiety going. I really felt a lot of pressure. I think maybe it was my first world battle after,
after taking a title,
world champion or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
I really felt a lot of pressure, and it kind of got to me a little bit. I don't think it went awfully, but I think it went bad enough to make somewhat of a difference. But anyway, I finished, and everyone was like, "Yo, that was amazing! You've won. You've easily won." Everyone was saying to me like, "You've won. You've won. You've won." Delightful. Like had some issues with the technical category, so went home. Didn't even stay for the results. He was mad because there was some technical issues with the turntables. Anyway, and then I'm just sat there like waiting to get my trophy, basically. Like, One of the organizers comes up to me and he's like, "Oh, do you know where Delightful is?" And I was like, "Yeah, he's gone home. Like, he was mad about the technical." And they were like, "Oh, we need him here. He's won the show category." And I was like, "What?" I was like, He's won." Anyway, I was just like, "What the fuck?" Anyway, so that I wasn't like distraught or anything, but I was like taken aback a little bit. And then he was like, he didn't even come because he was mad. And then the next day he was posting being like, "Tommy won, I didn't win. Give Tommy the thing." And like, all these people were like, "I don't know how you didn't win." Anyway, to be honest, like reflecting on it now, I can see why he did win. He did something that was like, it wasn't not good. It was maybe like, which I think was kind of why he was maybe frustrated. It wasn't pushing any boundaries or anything like that, but he did it really cleanly. It was like something he could do really well. So I'm not like, at this point, I don't think I should have won. That's just kind of where I was then. So, but that kind of, I consciously didn't care that I'd lost. It kind of took a lot out of me because those 3 weeks had been really intense leading up to that. But it was definitely something I kind of struggled to not come to terms with, but understand over the next few months. And it took me kind of like sitting down and being like, you know what, I think it did bother me that I lost that. And then that was then when I was like, how ridiculous is that? And then from then on, I've really not been afraid of losing.
No.
And I think that's why I feel, like if I keep a journal and like, all right, I feel free. Like in that moment, I feel free. Like I almost feel like I could just like throw the laptop off the stage and I wouldn't even care.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you feel like that, then there's no negative to losing. I've never been scared of losing. I've at points disliked the feeling of it, but I've never been afraid of it. But in terms of learning from it, I think I tend to be so focused on myself and my performance that where I kind of place doesn't really matter, if that makes sense. Like my instinct is always to like break down what I've just done and do something brand new. And like, if you look at my stuff over the years, like there obviously is like a consistency to it, but I do tend to like really strongly change my approach every year. Like, if I look at like when I kind of came back to battling sort of the last 6 years or whatever it's been, the first year was like using my old techniques and approach, but with music and a sound that I was interested in. The next year I started like experimenting with integrating like effects, buttons and things like that. Then the year after that, I specifically went into it. I can remember it was like, I am not going to do any backspins. in this whole routine. I'm not pulling this record back to cue anything when I'm juggling. And that was like, because I'd never connected with juggling, right? But that reflection didn't come from like losing. It just came from looking at myself.
Yeah.
And then last year I specifically was like, I'm not doing any 3 clicks. I'm scratching on my weak hand, even if it's bad and I'm not ready, I'm going to do it because that's going to push me to get better. So it's like, my goal is getting better. So the winning or losing is like nice and not nice as it can be is irrelevant to my reflection and where I'm going in the future, I guess.
And do you know what? That's a really nice segue, mate, because I'd love to hear a little bit about what's next for you. Where are you taking things?
Man, I'm just honestly, like, the crux of it is I'm just trying to enjoy it. I'm trying to like have fun again. I'm trying to come into here, sit at the piano, play something, put a scratch record on, learn something, enjoy it, be like happy with the process, make songs, make routines. I want to keep battling because I enjoy it. I want to stop approaching it in as much of a like fight camp kind of way, like you would if you was like a UFC fighter or something. I've been making routines since the start of this year now, which is I wouldn't normally be making routines at this point. But that's in and amongst writing songs, recording with people. I've got a music video coming out in a couple of weeks, and I've got another video coming out every 2 months after that, with one of my friends, Double O, who's a rapper, really, really, really good. I'm sure you'll see it. I hope you will enjoy it. But yeah, just doing that, doing just trying to get better at music, get better at enjoying my life. And I would love to win DMC Worlds. That's still something I would love to do. I'm content to not. I don't need it, but I would. Do
you feel like to win the world, you have to put yourself in that mindset, like the mindset you use towards making a routine, and you kind of get very sort of focused on, this is my goal, I want to achieve this, it needs to be like this, there needs to be a journey, blah blah blah, I'm looking at this and I'm achieving that. Do you feel like maybe to win the world you need to kind of move your focus to winning that? And
I think in the short term that would help. I mean, like when I won IDA in 2022, that for me was like the peak of me being really focused on making the best routine I could.
Yeah.
That was after that, in 2023, which was a bit of a weird year because mental health, going traveling, doing the IDA show. That was, it's after that I kind of changed to being focused on just getting better, and the routines will become better on their own. So like a big thing for me is I always think of it like it's like a garden, right? You've got to like water the plants, you've got to tend to it. The routine and the results is like when it blooms, when it flowers. You can't just get in the garden for 24 hours and make everything flower. You've got to you've got to nurture it. Yeah. So like, I'm just kind of trying to like, I'm not trying to force myself to do anything. What I do is just create an environment physically, mentally, that allows me to do those things, that encourages and, kind of nurtures that. But yeah, I think if I change my mindset to be fully focused on DMC, I would do a lot better in the short term. But what's the cost, right? Mental health is probably going to be difficult if I'm being so focused on one thing. I'm gonna let's say I do that, right, and I come third this year, and then I'm pushing it in the top 3. Like at some point, I'm gonna stall out because I'm just focused on DMC. I'm not really getting. If I'm integrating like an off season with working on my skills, yeah, maybe. But like, I'm going to spend 1 to 5 years of my life singularly focused on one thing, not doing the things I enjoy, not getting better at music, which I think helps the DJ in any way. And like I've always in my head, like I've always had this thing. It's like, if I win, I want to win doing me. I don't care if like my style isn't, because I like my style. I think some people like it. I don't think it's ideally suited to DMC.
It's definitely not. No, it's definitely not ideal.
But I want to push my style so far that the judges are like, you know what? I can't say no. You can't dispute it. Like, yeah, it's not really ideally suited, but he's pushed it so far and it's so far above that it's undisputable that he's won. And like, you know, I do think I can win DMC World.
I think
I'm not saying I'm going to walk in this year and flatten everyone, but I think I have it in me. But I can't, like, how old am I? I'm 33 now, right? About to turn 34. You know, probably gonna start a family soon. Like, I can't.
It's getting serious.
That changes the game.
5 years of like DMC. That's not gonna work.
No.
And I want to. I'm getting older. I want to enjoy my life. I don't want to, like, you know. But what I can do is, like I said, create an environment, keep getting better, work on my mind, my ideas, and that kind of thing, my approach, and just keep letting that develop naturally on its own. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And I think that's a kind of a thing of why I've kind of pushed the skills a little bit. You know, if I'm going to have kids, can I spend 6 hours locked away making a routine with young children?
Do you know what though, Tommy? Do you know what, Tommy? So one thing on that, right? So as a man who has two young children, I have improved dramatically since having less time.
Really?
Way better. And the reason is because I spend less time practicing. It sounds totally counterintuitive, but the reality is that it means that the time I spend practicing is extremely high value. And honestly, I would say it's one of those weird things in life. It's been stressful. I'm not going to lie. It's not been pleasant. I've not necessarily enjoyed my time at the decks as much as I'd like to. But I have improved so much more in the last sort of 4 or 5 years. My eldest is going to be 7, but than I ever did in the 20 years of DJing and before that. And it is because because I have that thing of I refuse to put the decks down, but I get 20 minutes. So, and I'm quite conscious about what I want to achieve. So I'm like, I really wanted to get from this position to this position. I've got 20 minutes today that I can try and make progress on that. And I'm going to use that 20 minutes in the most effective way I possibly can. So one thing I will say is from this conversation, I feel like you might have some of those similar mindset to me. I actually think you'll find that you'll improve a lot more. It just won't be as fun, but I reckon
it definitely doesn't sound fun, Dan.
I reckon you'll smash the shit out of it.
Nice one, man.
Yeah, seriously, because you'll also have you'll need it as well. It'll because kids is tough. Kids is hard work.
But I think like what you said then, you can get a lot done in 20 minutes, man. And like,
Mate,
I'm obviously like some weeks I have a lot more time than others. Like all my work that I do is like, freelance music, whatever kind of stuff. So like some weeks I'm really busy, some weeks I'm not. When I do have those weeks where I don't have much time, I get a lot done in that little bit of time.
That's it.
And like I said, this approach that I've got now with working on my skills, that has all this in mind, because it's like, if I can improve my skills, my ability to draw on different techniques to build routines easier, when I enter this stage of my life where I don't have as much time, I don't have to spend as much time making routines, because it doesn't require as much time, because I can put, instead of 90% in now, I can start putting 80 in, but because my skills are higher, the results are going to be just as good, if not better.
I agree with you, mate. And the way I'd look at it is, if you want to become a big muscly man, right? You go to the gym an hour a day, or a couple of hours a day or whatever. You don't go to the gym 24 hours in a row and hope and it's exactly that. It's like, and obviously you have to then apply the focus in that hour that you're there. But honestly, mate, I think you'll find, ironically, that your skills will improve a shit ton when you have less time.
I think something interesting on that in time. Like, I listened to the Revert podcast you did, and he was talking about his girlfriend saying she was a DMC widow.
Yeah.
And honest, I think I spend as much, if not more, time with my girlfriend when it's getting to DMC, because I and it's something that I would recommend to people. I plan every day, like hour by hour, when it gets to that period, right? Yeah. And I put in that plan, this is time I'm spending with my partner.
Yeah,
you know. So it's like, and then it's like, well, I'm practicing these 3 hours, and then I've got these hours in the evening I'm spending with Ellen. So it's like, well, when I'm spending that time with her, I'm not DMC, because I know I'm not practicing then. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So like, you know, I think, yeah, I don't know. I think that I used to be like that, and I think it's a really unhealthy place to be, because you're so wrapped up in it. You know, so what, you're going to go to this battle you want to win. You've neglected your friends, your other interests, your partner, and then you don't win. So what are you left with?
Yeah. Mate, I understand. Yeah, totally. I think there's
if you know, I think that thing of like with kids, whatever it is, it's that just a bit, especially neurodivergent people, a little bit of planning, as difficult as it is to sometimes do that, really, really helps. And even if it's just like writing down the night before, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., doing some practicing or whatever it is, the act of writing it down is going to make you more likely to do it.
Shall I tell you what happens to me when I do that?
let me hear it.
Oh God. Brace yourself. Have you got something to hold on to?
Yeah.
Johnny?
So if I was to, so let's say tomorrow, if I was to go 6 to 7 this, 8 till 9 that, 9 till 10 this, 10 to this, I'd feel a great thing that, yeah, I'm going to achieve this, right? But then my toilet would block up, or the dog would eat a hedgehog, right? Or something silly would happen, right? And then suddenly, the moment something goes wrong, it's catastrophe. And I remember a time when I was applying what you did, and I was like, right, okay, girlfriend time. But then I'd done something to piss the girlfriend off, and then suddenly, that girlfriend time became no girlfriend time arguments. And it just caused the amount of chaos in my head that everything went out went out into the shit. I was done, right? And I haven't been able to plan since. And I don't know if, do your plans go, the reason I'm talking this, do your plans
I can give you some tips, man.
Do it, come on, do it, because there's a few of us.
So first thing, plans don't always go to plan. And you've just got to be okay and accept that, like, things, like something I really used to struggle to deal with was like, if I'd planned to practice, something happened and I couldn't practice.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
And your brain is going like,
I can't practice.
I'm sure you know the feeling, but just accepting that, like, that happens, that's life. And like, no, like that happens. My brain wants to scream, but I'm like, it's okay.
No, but don't you have the imaginary clock that when you start your
don't talk about clocks. Time, we're not talking about clocks.
No, because the moment I define a time, the moment I'm in that time, my brain is thinking about the next time, and then I'll go and start it. So I haven't done anything for 10 minutes. Oh shit, I got 50 minutes to do it, and then I start getting pissed off. I got 50 minutes to do it. Then I'm half an hour through, and then I'm in that next one already, and then I never achieve anything because I'm always thinking about the next one.
You need you need to get some like Buddhist books, man. Like the middle road.
I'm starting it. I'm actually starting it. Starting it. Yeah.
You've always got to take the middle road, man. Like
there's no 50%. I got diagnosed with something called FND from a stroke. Right.
No, but what you need to get is hyper focus on the 50%.
Yeah, but how the fuck? Right, okay, right. I'll give you the background, really, Tommy. Right. So I had a stroke 8 months ago. 4 strokes in my stroke 8 months ago. Right, and after the stroke, I got diagnosed with something called FND, which is functional neurological disorder. Now, apparently, I've always had that. I've had like random fits and shit all my life, mostly down to cocaine use from my younger years, and it caused these fits. And I just thought, oh, it's just drugs, blah blah blah. I had this stroke that wasn't to do with drugs. I've been a good lad for the last 10 years, but I had this FND thing, and what it does is when I become emotionally overwhelmed, when I become stressed, or when I push myself too hard, I'll faint, and then my brain resets to my stroke, which means my legs didn't work. So I have to physio my way back. And the FND nurses said to me, Mr. Gould, you need to find 50%. And I'm like, what the fuck is 50%? I'm either not in it at all, or I'm 100% on it.
Yeah, yeah.
And this 50% is so elusive. And obviously your conversation there is like you're sitting in the world of 50%. You're sitting in the, it's going to be what it's going to be. This is going to happen. I'm going to stick to the plan. I'm not going to get stressed. And I just cannot. There is no middle for me.
Can I ask you a question?
Do it.
Right. Okay. I'm brandishing a scalpel. I don't want to brandish it and not say.
Don't in front of me, Kenny.
So my question for you is, when you feel compulsed to do something,
yeah,
is that because you have an intense desire to achieve something?
Okay, so in my work, right? So if I've got something I need to complete for a customer, and the customer tells me, "Do it when you do it," never gets done. If that customer tells me the deadline is tomorrow, it needs to be done tomorrow, right? My ability to do something based on the fear of not achieving what I've agreed will make me do that. But if I'm sat there with no goal or no end game, then I'll never do it. But then on the other hand, if I go to myself, you have this amount of time to practice, and you have to practice and do it then. If I go and try and practice, no chance. I will literally...
Okay, right. So I've got another question for you, right? And I need an honest answer.
Of course.
So when you're practicing,
yeah,
there's some big goal in mind, right? There's something there, whether you want to say or not, there's something in the back of your mind that you want to like achieve and work towards.
I have. So we'll talk about turntablism. I want to get to a certain level, and when I use my turntables, I mostly use my turntables as a cathartic therapy to calm down my brain. And when I'm doing that, I'll get on them when I'm in that space where it's necessary for me to need that therapy. Okay. And then when I'm in that space, I'll just be like looking at techniques that I want to do. Or so I've seen somebody do a juggle, so I'll try that juggle. But I don't. If I
be reaching a level, that can be the goal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But there's no cognitive I need to achieve this. It's just I like that. I'm gonna have a go at it. And so
then maybe it's different for you, but I kind of have the same panics and stresses about missing practice and things getting in the way.
Yeah.
But the thing that helped me is just what I want to achieve and what will lead me to being the happiest and getting the most out of it.
Yeah.
That 100% path does not lead there.
No.
The 50% path is going to have better results. Being consistent and being balanced is always like, you know, when I used to battle before the last couple of years, I would spend, you know, 2018, 19, 21, 22, 23. So that's 5 years, right? I probably spent 3 or 4 months on DMC.
Yeah.
The other 8-9 months of the year, I did not touch my turntables. I was so burnt out from that 3 or 4 months. I did not touch the turntables. So, but if I'm a little bit more balanced, take it a bit slower, then, you know, I can work the whole year.
Okay.
So, you know what I mean? Is by letting go of that like 100% focus, I think you get better results anyway.
Well, that's it.
If you're doing it for purely cathartic reasons, that's slightly different, I guess.
Well, that's it. So I mean, so this is probably where you're getting quite confused with where this is going, because a little bit of my background, obviously, the ADHD and traumas in my past led me into drug addiction. And when you're in drug addiction and when you have ADHD, your ego becomes a sort of a shield to the outside world, and then you tend to live with the ego protecting you from being vulnerable.
Oh yeah, I know that, man. I know that. Yeah.
And then the other sort of parts of it are that, you know, you start to live in fear. You're scared of everything, scared of opening mail, and obviously the ego and fear become two very powerful walls in between you and the world. So then you're either in it or you're not, and you're only in things you're good at because you can't take not being good at stuff. Blah blah blah. So I'm in this. I'm in this process now where I'm looking into Buddhist ways, and I'm sort of trying to deal trying to take myself apart, notice the ego, notice where ego's been ruining it, notice where fear's been ruining my life, and starting to get into that journey. So, I mean, I don't know your background or how you've come here, but you starting to see what I'm attempting to break down in the chaos.
Yeah, totally, man. I feel like I can relate. Like, obviously, like, you know, you say you've had drug issues. I don't know if it's interesting. Like, so when I got into DJing, I was like 16, right?
Yeah.
And I was so into DJing, I would not touch drugs. I would not drink because I would not do anything that would get in the way of me practicing, right?
Yeah.
When I got a bit older and chilled out a bit, realized kind of my negative, toxic behaviors, if you want to call them that. And I first tried drugs and things like that.
Okay.
I got really obsessed with them.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to do this the best way I can possibly do it. How can I? Same with DJing. Like, I want to make this the best. But you know, fortunately for me, I was a bit older.
Yeah.
And I was still into still into all this other stuff. And I've always said I really love being sober. Like, I've always enjoyed that. So it kind of it was a weird thing that lasted a bit of a short period of time. But I can, you know, relate to that. I don't know, almost like a gamification of it, like making it a skill kind of. I don't know. That's what that small.
Do you know what? Do you know what's so interesting about this? Right. So I had a very different journey. I started taking drugs at like 12. So do you know what I mean? A lot of my formative years, you know, when the brain's really starting to grow up, I was like smoking weed like every day in school and shit. So the kind of what you experienced with, I love this, I'm going to become really good at this. A child just can't go, I love this, I'm going to become good at it. It's just like, I'm just going to do it. And then you just do it and you do the damage to your brain. So it's very interesting because I kind of feel like we have the way our brains work is very similar. Like dopamine fiends, getting stuck on melodies. Like when you were talking about the whole performing aspect of it, I don't really perform. I'm like more interested in what it sounds like, and it just needs to be that. And I don't really care for body tricks. So it's quite interesting to like see somebody with my brain set that kind of escaped the dopamine like chasing drug side of thing and went into music. Do you think?
I think it's interesting. Sorry, go on. What was the question?
No, I want to hear what you're going to say now because I was just rambling.
I think it's interesting how like you know, I'm the same, like chasing dopamine all the time, whether it's like practice, making a new song, making a new routine, video games, you know, whatever it is. But I think it's really interesting that like as you try and work on yourself and your own mental health and these things that you struggle with, that you approach it from. Sometimes I'm approaching it from, okay, well, practicing this way is making my mind the most peaceful because it's giving me dopamine, right? So I'm still trying to like get better at chasing it. But then another part of me is like, how can I get better at not needing that? How can I be more content just being in this moment and feeling whatever it is I'm feeling? Because I think a big part of it is, as much as you are hunting dopamine, I think you're hunting also escaping from your present self.
Oh, cool. The chaos. I don't know how you start. I don't know whether you suffer with sort of intrusive thoughts or having set like 10 or 11 different things thinking about.
I'm always thinking about 100 different things, man.
So obviously the turntables were a cure for that for a small amount of time, but obviously drugs just shut it down. And it was like I used to see it as sort of like brain holidays. That was exactly what I need. A brain holiday. It's getting too much.
Yeah.
And obviously the anxiety that you had as well, I suffered with quite heavily. And what was really interesting is when you were talking about competing and the levels of anxiety you got when you're competing, and then you rationalized quite a big thing into, no, it's just a competition, just a small competition. It doesn't matter. And I did that with my anxiety when I was a lot younger. I was like, when I used to get real bad panic attacks and anxiety attacks, I realized that if I started laughing at the reason for the panic attack, and if I found a comedy value for the reason I was having a panic attack, suddenly it was like, oh, it's actually not that big of a thing. Why are you having such a big reaction from such a silly thing? And then you can sort of like rationalize yourself out of it, which I thought was very interesting with you and how you did that with your.
I think it's funny you say that. I've been the last few weeks. I've been really conscious of not rationalizing my way out of everything.
Really? Okay.
Because I think that works as like a band-aid, right? So this is just my experience, obviously different for everyone. But I've always been a person that when anything bad's happened, I've rationalized it in my head and I've explained it away, rationalized and explained to myself why that thing's okay.
Yeah.
And then I don't have to think about it, right? But what I've found is difficult, but I think is healthier for me and is working better is not rationalizing it away and being like, I feel sad, I feel ashamed, I feel embarrassed, disappointed, and just being like, it's okay to feel that way.
Oh, 100%.
Not having to, because my thing is, I would just not feel it. I would just run away from it. I'd come up with a elaborate story as to why I didn't have to feel that way, and then I wouldn't feel that way. Instead of just sitting there and being like, this is what I feel like.
Oh, 100%.
And then my brain doesn't get as it doesn't panic as much.
Well, so my example was specifically to do with anxiety and sort of crippling anxiety. That if you manage that anxiety, you create enough headspace to then be able to face why that is. But especially with low mood, I was diagnosed with bipolar like 10, 15 years ago, and I'm like either there again. I'm either 100 or 0. I'm either really happy or I'm down in the dumps. I very rarely get a middle ground. And the more I sort of chase these spiritual things, I'm finding I'm sitting in the middle quite a lot. But accepting your mood is a very important thing that you highlighted on. When I'm feeling down and when I'm feeling low, I'll put a bit of Def Cab for Cutie on or listen to some Elliott Smith. Do you know what I mean? And just sit there and really be in that low mood. And then when I'm feeling high mood, I'll get the Gabba Techno out or a bit of jungle.
Yeah.
And just kind of be in it. And it's really funny because when you start to accept where you are or you face where you are and you're not trying to fight where you are, actually low mood's a very beautiful place to be and a very complex go on.
I just think it's interesting, and it's like I've don't often find myself in those really low places because my brain works so hard to run away and avoid it. But when I do find myself there, it's, although you might be sad or whatever, it's very strangely liberating.
Oh, it is.
And like I struggle to put it into words, the feeling I get when I feel those things. I feel like we're getting into like
we're getting very deep
podcast now.
Yeah, we are.
Like it's for me it feels very like liberating and freeing to feel, because I just don't. It's just not natural for me. Like I guess where I'm from, it's a very get on with it. Move on, next thing, just chin up.
Do you know what I've had a revelation recently, and this will be the last deep thing we say because Dan's back in the room. We could talk about twiddling knobs.
Mr. Shallow here.
But somebody said to me, right, when somebody asks you if you're okay and you just go, yeah, I'm okay, it's a really, really, really negative thing to do to your psyche.
Yeah.
And I've just started, when somebody asks me if I'm okay, I'll give them okay. Do you really want to know if I'm okay? Or do you just want to know if I'm okay? And at that point, you can tell if they want to really know. And if they do, I'll tell them. And if they don't, I won't. And it's been very liberating. And it's been very liberating for me to say to a few people, no, I'm in a really bad place at the moment. There's a lot of struggles going on, and this is why. And when you put it out there, when it's in the world and you do it in a safe environment with the right person, then actually it alleviates those problems. So yeah, there we go. I've just found
No, I'm with you. When people ask me, am I okay? I'm like, well, you asked for it. I'm like, this is an opportunity. I'm like, I need to practice talking about my feelings, so give me a good opportunity, it or not.
I kind of feel like if enough of us do it, people won't ask you anymore.
Yeah, but I used to get the same, man, when people used to say, "Oh, what do you do?" And I was like, and I used to always be like, "What are you asking me here? Are you asking me what I do for a living, or are you asking me what I do as a person?" Yeah, and like, that was one for me that used to always like wind me up as a question.
Oh yeah. It is the worst. And it is the worst when you do something a little bit different. Because when you're a bricklayer, it's very easy. Oh, I lay bricks. Oh, amazing. I live in a house. I love people that build brick. Do you know what I mean? But then it's like, what do you do? Oh, well, I fix decks. I do podcasts. I run a scratch cafe. And they're like,
mate, you should see me. I went to Bali with my wife. It's like, what do you do for a living?
Yeah, yours is a hard one.
So I'm an organisational psychologist. I sell psychometric tests to large corporations. So what is it you do? Well, basically, I have a made-up job.
Mate, most of us do.
The guys in Bali are like, so what do you build? Like, what, like, if you're not making a physical thing, what the fuck are you doing? And to be fair, to some extent, I sometimes remind myself of that, because it's very easy to get caught up in the stress of all this stuff.
100%.
And it's bollocks. Put crudely.
No need to take stress from stuff that doesn't have to be. And
I agree. I mean, but that is a masterful thing to nail, right? I mean, it's very difficult to achieve, but yeah, I mean, I've obviously missed a little bit of the conversation.
Oh, it got pretty deep. It
sounded like it got
pretty deep, didn't it, Tommy?
No, good.
Yeah, we went there. Yeah.
It's good, right?
But I think it's like if you're talking about DJing and like turntablism and battling, especially, I think it's so related, and so many people just use battling to cover those things up and don't realize how like intertwined and like feeding into itself these things are. It's like if you have these mental health problems and you use DJ battling to escape that, I gotta be real with you, it's probably gonna make it worse.
Make it worse.
Like if you don't address and acknowledge the underlying things.
No.
Like
it's really funny because I did a podcast with Boy George's keyboard player, and he also read Let's Get Ready to Rumble and PJ Duncan's thing back in the 90s.
Yeah.
So like he's a proper music industry guy. Unfortunately, he died a couple of years ago, really suddenly. It was terrible. But we did a mental health podcast, basically. We would just sit there just talking about this stuff. And the amount of people in music that are just that, do you know what I mean? We tend to be in creative things. So I think, you're right in saying it's very important to like maybe talk about this a little bit more on this podcast. Maybe extend them by another hour.
Yeah. Again, it's like one of them things we said before about like all battle DJs are neurodivergent. I mean, who's entering a DJ battle that doesn't have some kind of mental health issue? Show me perfect happy person that's entering a DJ battle. Show me them.
You won't find them. But that's part of the thing that's fascinating about it, though. And part, one of the things that's been really wonderful about us running the Scratch Cafe community is that I think a lot of these people are just looking for connection. Like they're looking for people who understand their isms, because the reality is that when you are neurodivergent in some way, you're entering into a space most days where you're surrounded by people who don't get it.
100%. Right? Do you know what I love about it? I'm in the Scratch Cafe and I'm walking around and say, that guy's just got overwhelmed. He's off into the corner by himself. And then I look over and there's two guys just missing all the social crews. Like, they're having the most awkward conversation in the world and loving it. And I'm just walking around, just seeing all of my isms and all of the things I live with happening to other people. And then
in real time,
you become unoverwhelmed and the awkward conversation ends. You're looking across from them at a turntable, just going, and it's fun. It's beautiful because you cannot find that in the normal facet of life. It's amazing.
Tommy, I think it's like Bristol, mate. Are you ever in Bristol?
Not unless it's some kind of DJ battle scratching type thing.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to. Yeah. Obviously, there's the thing of Unstoppable, which we'll get you down to. But yeah, we need to get you down for a jam.
Well, we're going to be up. So Rasp is invited us up to Manchester. Actually, he's going to put on a little scratch jam.
Oh, we'll definitely come up to
Manchester. When's that going to be?
Don't know yet. We're just looking at times, but yeah, Ras needs to sort out the venue for it, and then we're gonna see if we can meet that date. And I think we're just gonna come up, book a hotel, and just hang out with New Boys. So yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah, it's always fun up north.
Exactly. I love like literally 2 of my best mates are Northerners. I absolutely love Northerners. As much as I take the piss out of them, I love Northerners.
Try to avoid taking the piss out of them when we're up north.
Oh no, that's the best time to do it. No. I did a bit of building. I did a bit of building work in Wales, right? And obviously there was like 1 or 2 Welsh people when I was doing building, and you would rip the absolute shit out of them.
Yeah.
And then we went and we were on a building site in Wales. And I was like, oh, here we go. And they started ripping the shit out of us. There was like 2 English people on a Welsh building site. And it was like, yeah, fucking game on. I was picking them off, getting the shit. Do you know what I mean? That's the best time to shit talk people. When you're in their land, you gauge the situation and get into the shit talk. But yeah, anyway, don't know how the fuck did I go on that? Right, so I think we're getting to like just about to close off the podcast now, isn't it?
I think so.
So we always ask, if we remember, we ask these questions. What is your favourite DMC set?
Okay. I'll give you... and this is actually my favourite. It's probably a bit of an unorthodox choice. Obviously, I love all the classics. My favourite DMC set, I think, is Miyajima in 2007.
Okay.
I don't know if you know that set.
I don't know that set, no. So I
don't think you played.
No? What was good about
it? There's a couple of routines in it that I really like. And interestingly enough, I've got another one I'll tell you about that's my other favourite, but both of these routines are for very small sections that they're my favourite routine, which is perhaps a bit hypocritical that the whole 6 minutes has got to be one thing. We can't have individual moments. It's got to be
Where's the journey?
So Miyajima, he does this beat juggle at the start, and it's just the way it sounds. Like it's nothing like crazy complicated. It's just really nice. I love the way it sounds. It sounds like a piece of music. Sounds like something I'd listen to. It has that moving composition where like each bar's different, but it retains enough of itself to still feel like a song. And yeah, I spent ages when I first started trying to find the records to use, and I messaged him, and he did eventually tell me what it was. And it's 2 different records. It's I forget the name of the song now, but it's the original, and it's kind of like a neo-soul-y French hip hop kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then it's like a 4-hero kind of, I don't know what you'd even call it, like jazz funky kind of sounding remix of it. Just a different tempo, and he uses both the records together. And it's really cool. And then the other one that I really like is DJ Izo, but not when he won the 2012 one. I really like his 2005 routine. Okay. And that is, again, for a specific moment, he does this Daz Dillinger. I don't even know what you call this. I'm sure you guys will know, like a breakdown when you do like a triplet timing kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's dance,
like kind of like the Babu Blind Alley kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like sounds a bit like a pirate song, do or a waltz. Oh, we should have talked about that, man, and 3/4 timing and breakdowns, and how for some reason battle DJs are obsessed with waltz times together. I think it's kind of weird. But yeah, that would be my.
We could get you on for another podcast where that could be
follow up on.
That could be done. Yeah,
scratch DJ waltz timing. Yeah.
Well,
show me. I've got lots to say about that.
I can talk about that for days. I love that. I love the waltz timing, like shuffle 16. Like,
yeah.
I love it, but I'm just like what? None of the music that we play or like listen to is in 3/4. So why are you all so obsessed with like 3/4 flips? Like, what's the?
I guess
I love it, and like that ISO one is like a 3/4 that connects with me. I'm not saying I don't like it, but I do find it. I often think about how big of a part of like turntablism 3/4 timing is.
It's just wonky, man. It's just the more you focus on music, the more your gauge for weirdness is expanded. And
but it's a very specific wonky. Where's your 5/4 juggles? Do you know what I mean? I'm not seeing no one pulling out none of them. It's always 3/4. It's always the waltz.
It's because most DJs can only count to 4.
And do you know what? Riddle me this: how many people doing these 3/4 juggles do you think even know that they're doing juggles in 3/4?
No, they don't know that. No, they don't know that. Of course they don't. Of course they don't.
It's quite funny actually. It's one of because obviously when you're trying to teach people to scratch, that like there's a huge missed opportunity a lot of the time. People have learned like a technique, but they've learned it in one timing, and they haven't necessarily taken the step to go, oh, I could do that in triplet timing, or I could do that as a polyrhythm, or and when you try to explain timing to people, it's a really simple concept, and I'm saying this as myself as well. It takes years to really understand. It took me years before it clicked, you know. So I think it's just one of those things because like naturally you feel it, and I suddenly started realizing that blues records I was listening to were in 6/8 and 3/4, you know, and I was sitting there thinking, what, like, oh, I've been like enjoying those, but yeah, and I wondered why they didn't mix. Like,
I was literally just sat in my head counting 3/4.
Well, yeah, because it's you know,
it's totally disappeared into 3/4.
You know,
I have to show you some stuff sometime, one. But I did spend, I don't know how long it was, but I spent a good while like drilling down into like quintuplet timed scratches and like septuplet ones, which was really interesting and difficult. And I eventually settled on the fact that like I don't think this really works in scratching, but it's interesting. It's like, you know, fitting five notes into one beat, or you know, is a different sound. And like when you hear it, you'll know something's going on. And I think it's one of those things. It's like, what is that? I'm not quite sure I like it though. Yeah.
Oh, that's hysterical.
Oh, dear.
Mate, I'm kind of with you. I mean, sometimes that stuff, it's like, I mean, I struggle with like, it's the Miles Davis, isn't it, of the scratching world? You know, it's like, I'm very impressed and I respect that. But for me, I just can't listen to it.
Like those guys, you know, it's like a lot of the time they're not even, if you try and play to like one of those things that's like a crazy rhythm, they're just playing like, it's not even to that thing, it's just phrases to the tempo.
Well, the interesting thing about those jazz
timing.
About those jazz guys is they have an understanding about groove and timing that most people will never even be able to comprehend.
Oh yeah.
I've asked a couple of them about it, and I'm like, ask them about this, and they say something to me, and I'm like, I'll never get that. I can never understand that.
I'm too well. I mean, you know, I'm Mr. Shallow, right? So, I would really struggle. I really would struggle with some of that stuff. But it's yeah. I mean, fascinating. So we've done the DMC question.
So I want to ask a really awkward one.
Go on then.
You might not want to answer this, Tommy. I'll save it for the last, so we can cut it out if you don't want to. If you had to choose, you could never ever compete or watch anything from the DMC, or you could never ever compete or watch anything from the IDA. Which one would you delete out of your life? And now this was going to be your random question, so feel very lucky I let you off.
I'll answer the question by not answering it.
No,
I think.
Come on.
Tommy Peanut.
Okay, I'll tell you why I would pick DMC and why I would pick IDA to answer.
No. You have to choose. You have to choose. Come on, Tom. You can do. Look. This isn't a real situation. We're just hypothetical.
Okay, all right. I say right now.
Yeah.
Because there's no technical category in IDA anymore, I would choose DMC because.
Okay.
For DJing, I'm interested right now in how can I apply a musical approach to a traditional battle routine.
See now, look how good of an answer you gave from just doing what I told you, Tommy.
But I obviously have IDA, no shade. I hope the stars align and I will be there at some point in the future.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Wonderful. Well, that was a fucking amazing podcast, man.
It was really interesting, mate. Thank you so much for spending
time
with us. We really appreciate it. And yeah, man, good luck. Are you going in this year? Are you going in DMC this year? Or are you calling?
Do you have a personal interest in my answer?
Of course he does. Yeah, you know he does. Don't even act like you don't.
You asked it in a very casual.
I've literally been watching Dan get more and more worried at your stone cold, non-anxious face when you're in that compete. I've just been sat there watching him go, shit. How am I supposed to compete with that?
I'll say, let me drop this little nugget.
Go on then.
So when I was doing DMC UK, the first time I did it, like 2012, 2013, I had to battle Switch and Richie Roughtone both years, and they both came above me. Then when I came back and did DMC again, I had to battle JFB and Richie. Right? I've never not had at least 2 world champions in a DMC UK battle with me, right? But then the next year, I think it was the next year, when I won my first one and I beat Richie, I had to push myself to that level just to win the UK. And then when I came, then I knew, I was like, well, I just beat someone. Not saying I'm better than Richie, it's just, different days, it goes different ways.
Yeah.
But like, I was like, I can beat Richie. He's a world champion. I'm ready for this kind of thing. So I think I would want someone that has a certain level in the competition to push you and let you and make you have to reach that level. Because if you some years, I'm not knocking anyone, but the standard's not as high, right?
Yeah, I keep saying this. I'm glad you
can see that. Some people are waiting around for an easy year to pick up a title. And if you pick up a title in one of them years, fucking good luck when you get to the world final.
Look how much he loves saying that. Look at that face. Look at it. He look at that face. I found out why he competes, because he lives on being the guy to chase. Look at him. He does.
No, but I'm not. But there's plenty of people. There's plenty of people that could show up this year and beat me or give me a lot of trouble. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Will you name them though? Who are they? Will you name them?
What, the people in the UK that would give me shivers? Who
would give you shivers in the UK?
Okay, the people in the UK that I would think that I would be unsure of the result in battling would be like JFB. Obviously, I wouldn't bet on myself against him. I'm not saying I couldn't beat him with the right routine or whatever, but I wouldn't bet on myself against him. Switch. Richie obviously would give me a hard time. John First. Woody, I think Woody
Woody keeps coming up. Woody keeps coming up.
I think Woody would do real damage today. Even if he just did his old school juggling, like whatever style, I think he would still do damage. Tiger style, a muzzle, I think would do good. Although I'm not sure if. Yeah, I think muzzle would do really good actually. Yeah. Those kind of guys, they'd all give me like trouble. I don't think I'm like the guy. I think maybe I'm the guy out of the crop of people that are currently entering DJ battles in the UK.
Yeah. It's very humbling.
Obviously, if battling Static, I'm not saying he couldn't take me. The standard in the UK is really, really high. I think people in the UK, although it's maybe quite intimidating, are really privileged to have such a high level to go against. Because if you are living in a country where the level is low and you don't have to push yourself to win, it's really hard to like bridge the gap between national and world level. You know what I mean? And it's like I said last year, like I'm not coming into DMC UK. I'm not trying to win another UK title. I've got enough UK titles. I want to win a world title. So like I'm not even thinking about beating the guys I'm in the battle with from DMC UK. I'm thinking about beating the guys I got a battle a month down the line.
Cold as ice. Dad, don't look at him when he says stuff like that. Don't look at him. Don't look at him.
But what I'm saying is, if I'm approaching it that way, thinking about if I'm coming to DMC UK with a routine that I'm getting ready to put up against K Swizz, DJ Fly, Fumi, these people, obviously I'm holding myself to a higher standard than people that are coming looking to beat Tommy Peanuts. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if I want to give you spoilers. Am I going to battle this year? I mean, what if I would you want me to say yes or do you want me to say no? What would you like me to say?
Do you know what? I actually had no agenda asking the question. It was merely.
No, I know, but I'm interested. I'm interested.
To be honest with you, mate, my thing with battling isn't like I'm not about winning. I really am not. Like, for me, some of it's exposure and business related because it supports my online learning business. But the primary thing is pushing the art form a bit. Like I've gained so much from getting involved in this world. And to be fair, like, I mean, I've DJ'd for years, but like proper getting into turntablism's only been a few years for me. Like, I always liked a bit of scratching and stuff, and I always did a bit of scratching, but like properly getting into, I want to learn to juggle, and I want to, I've only really been doing that for about 5 years. So to me, like, I quite like coming up against, someone who's going to push me forward. It'd be great to win a title, but to be honest, if I'm in it this year, because I'm still undecided, because I'm a bit like I've got too much on. But if I'm in it this year, I mean, I'd just be happy to be in it, go down there, have a good time with some mates, like, and put something together that I felt was me. My routine last year was me. And I can push that.
Here's one for you, man. Right? Here's a question.
Oh, wait, no, let me answer your question first before we move on.
Okay.
I want you to enter this year.
Okay.
Right now, before this podcast, I was lost because you're quite S11 heavy, and I didn't really understand what you were doing. So I was like, it's really good. Performance is savagely good. Really smooth. All your stuff is amazing, but I don't know what you're doing on that S11, so the magic was lost on me a little bit. But after this podcast, hearing that you're just doing what you want, you're doing it your way, and you're going to win your way, I've actually bought in to Tommy Peanuts, and I want you to win, and I want you to win the world. So please, for me, if you could go up there and do your own thing on your own terms, your own way, that doesn't sound like anybody else, and win the DMCs, kudos to you, mate. And I'm actually bought into it. So there,
nice one, man. I appreciate that.
God, what was your question?
My question is, what was my question? I know where my question came from.
Well, tell us where it came from then.
It came from. Here's my question. Right? So I think you should enter, right? And my question for you is, what do you think that? Because I thought you did well last year in DMC, and I think you got some things that other people don't have. So what do you think you have that sets you apart from the other people?
Whoa. He's being a sneaky fucker.
No.
That's not legal advice. I'm not sure you should have. No, I'm really joking.
What do you think it is about you? What do you think it is about you that you do? There was something that you did better than most people in that battle, I think. And what do you think it was?
Oh, it's a good question, mate. I have theories that I probably wouldn't put out publicly, just in case I do go compete.
Just say it, man. I've been saying all kinds of shit. If you don't think you're the best guy there, you're doing it wrong as well. So just man.
It's true. No, so I think there's I'm a bit like I like to think of it as an overall performance with a journey in it. I'm not saying that's different necessarily, but I think it is different from a lot of people. I think about the whole thing and how it connects together. I try to bring the culture into it, into what I'm doing. So there's always something in there that's like, like last year was David Attenborough, right? It was a document, like the concept. There was a concept that sat behind it. There was a documentary being narrated about turntablism, and it was like, there was some kind of progression through it. But to be honest, I'd be interested to understand what you think I did.
I really want to know that,
because
I really want to know. Because
some of this is about working out how I do differentiate.
I think. Probably pretty similar to what you said. I think you had good arrangement, the structure of it, the pacing, the concept, the balance. Like it. Sometimes I hear people do routines and they've got great skills, and I'm just like, you're not really putting your skills to great use. I think you put your skills to good use, and I think that is something that I think sets you apart from maybe 90% of other people in that battle. That have got plenty of good skills. Some people have good skills, good song choices, good routines, but they just don't understand the pacing, the overall arrangement. So I think definitely you should definitely go for it, man. And I think that is something that you need to have if you do want to win. I think there's no reason why, obviously, who knows who's going to enter, but you can't place next year or whatever. You just got to give it a go, man.
That would be my, my goal. If I go into it, my goal is like, make some cool stuff and deliver some good things and have a good time. My kind of like, if I like, my bonus would be placing. I thought,
was it Ras came third last year?
Yeah.
Yes.
And Revert came second. Yeah. Okay. Just give it a go, man. I think like one thing that I always say to myself before and after every battle is different judges, different result.
Yeah.
If you were to swap those, there is a I think I should have won DMC UK last year, right? But there probably is out there somewhere a configuration of judges that on that night would have given it to someone else.
Yeah.
Same reason that I don't think I deserve to win the world final. But out there somewhere, there's a configuration of judges probably that would have given it to me on that night. And like, what you win is like, what is it? It's just some particular judges on that particular day, like your particular thing. You're not really better than everyone else. It's just what that group of people thought. And there's plenty of battles I've won that I would have lost with different judges, and plenty I've lost that I probably would have won with different judges. It is what it is.
Got to be in it to win it.
Well, mate, I think we call it there. I think that's awesome. Dude, you've been a fantastic guest.
Yeah, really good fun.
Really appreciate your time, your wisdom, and your like candor. Like you're an absolute lad. Really appreciate it.
Nice one, mate. Thanks for having me. It was good to chat.